Week 3 of college football is in the books, and now we move on to conference play for a lot of teams, and this is where the rankings will start to get a little bit more interesting. So we're going to go over my college football top 25, and on top of that, we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 Heisman contenders. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Baroshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. So let's go ahead and look at the teams that just missed it, because got an interesting one here in Minnesota. I got 2 additions, one being Appalachian State, who continues to have the best games of the season. You should be watching Appalachian State. They're fun to watch. But they do have the North Carolina loss, so they're sitting on the outside. But Minnesota is the other addition to this just missed it list, because they have a big game coming up against Michigan State. Now, this is I would say, a veteran team, at least offensively, for Minnesota. So it's definitely a team to watch as they now get into the more serious part of their schedule. Syracuse, I wanted to add them so bad after that just banger of a game against Purdue. But let's be honest, Washington kind of had the more impressive win of the week. So Syracuse, they're probably the team right there on the fringe of just make it. Washington State, they will begin conference play, I believe, this week as well. But a team that I feel like they're still trying to piece it all together, and we'll see. They remain undefeated currently, with their biggest win being against Wisconsin. And then Florida State, it hurts me to not rank Florida State, because I feel like they kind of deserve it. They had a big one against LSU. They followed that up with another big one against Louisville, where they lost their best offensive and defensive player, both Jordan Travis and Jared Verse. And as far as I know, I'm recording this Sunday, I haven't heard any news on what's the timetable like for those players, but that's a big hit. So let's see if this Florida State can maintain momentum and continue their winning ways, without those big losses. I mean, they also lost guys like Robert Scott in that game, so there's a lot of questions circling around Florida State. But I do have one faller this week, being Michigan State, and it's really courtesy of I added the team they lost to the top 25, so they ended up falling. But they do get a big matchup this week against Minnesota. They got a chance to climb back into it and really recover, to be fair. That loss, they were missing key starters like Xavier Henderson's out for a little bit, and Jaden Reed, their number 1 receiver, was out for the game. So they were missing parts, and we'll see them going forward. Let's go ahead and get to the top 25, starting with 25. Florida, they fall a few spots. They got a big game this week against Tennessee, I believe. So we'll see. They have a good chance to move up, but they really haven't looked good since that Utah game. They had that close loss to Kentucky where just Anthony Richardson just didn't play that well. And then I think a lot of teams this week got caught looking forward in the schedule rather than for this week, and they got caught off guard by a South Florida team that came in there feisty and almost won, almost at least tied the game up, and just missed the go-ahead field goal. And a lot of that actually I think goes on the holder. It was a good snap, and he just didn't get the ball down, so it led to the kicker just smacking this ball that's just flat on the ground, and it didn't go well. The Hurricanes, man, we did a stream watching the Hurricanes and the Aggies, and they were just super unimpressive. The receiving core looks hot dookie, as they were missing their lead receiver, but to be fair, that receiving group has dropped a lot of balls this year. It felt like they were dropping everything against A&M. They had 8 drops. Just the week prior against Southern Miss, they had 11 drops. So this is a squad that, they need to iron out some bits. Like, the defense looked great. A few dumb penalties, and just not even dumb penalties, but dumb mistakes. A lot of 3rd and longs. There was the muff. And just not being able to move once in scoring position. Like, it led to a very unsatisfying game for the Hurricanes. Pittsburgh, they had the week, essentially they were supposed to have the week off, but they took on, I think it was Western Michigan without Keenan Slovis. They were able to get by that, though it got scary at times. They were able to get by that. So now they move on to, I believe, they do start ACC, or yeah, they start ACC play, right? I'm not seeing Pittsburgh here. Oh no, they got Rhode Island, so they got one more cupcake game before they get into ACC play. And then Texas A&M, they move up a few spots for me with, I wish I could say an impressive win. I mean, I guess it's impressive for them. Now they had the first time starter there at quarterback, not first time starter for the Aggies, and Max Johnson. They were missing players because of suspension. They lost a couple of guys early because of targeting calls in that game, and the defense really held on strong for them. They were able to not let they were able to capitalize off mistakes, and while it wasn't entirely impressive, it was a win against a ranked team who, hey, they're still ranked. My Hurricanes still at 24. BYU 21, man, they came out against Oregon and Eugene, still missing like their top two receivers, and it went about as you expected. They were never really in that game. Oregon looked like Oregon, and BYU looked like essentially they may have got lucky against Baylor, who might not even be that good of a team, but we will see Baylor on a little further on in this list, and we'll talk about them. On to 20B, and it's Washington, the team that beat Minnesota State. Michael Penix has looked really good. Hopefully that guy's health can stay up to snuff, because this cat's usually played like 6 games, then season-ended injury. Like, I'll talk about him in the stock report Wednesday, so be sure to check out that. But impressive win, impressive start to the season. Washington finally looks like it has some offense, and it looks like they can at least be a spoiler, maybe even potential contender in the Pac-12. Texas, they move up a few spots. It was scary against UTSA early, but they were able to lean on Bijan Robinson and get by in that game. It sounds like Quinn Ewers, there might be a potential return sometime in the season, hopefully before the Red River Showdown. We'll see. Again, they're a hard team to not rank, considering their only loss came against Alabama in a game where it just seemed like everything was going against them. Oregon, they move up some spots, taking down the BYU team that just upset Baylor. This really felt like what they wanted the season opener to look like there at Oregon against Georgia. And I don't blame them. Georgia, easily the best team in the nation right now. They're stomping everybody. I think Oregon's a good team that just unfortunately had to face Georgia early on. Then we got North Carolina State. They beat Texas Tech this week, and it was an alright game. The offense, again, looking better, looking a lot less scary than they did in that opener against Eastern Carolina, so they're moving up. Auburn, good, impressive, dominant win over, Penn State had the dominant win over Auburn, so they move up in the rankings. Not sure how good this team really is. Don't think they'll be tested this week. Right now I'm trying to see. Yeah, they got Central Michigan, though. Central Michigan team that has put up points. So a game they should win before they go into actual conference play, though they do already have the conference win over Purdue. But still, they're sitting here at 16. Baylor is number 15. I am not confident about this Baylor team like I was at the beginning of the year. There's questions at quarterback. They stopped a Texas State team as they should have. And again, in their one not cupcake matchup of the season, it didn't go well. To be fair, they lost that game in double overtime, but it never felt like they were really going to win that game anyway. So how will they look when we get to conference play? We'll find out this week against Iowa State, who's an undefeated Iowa State, mind you. So that's something to watch out for. Then we got the Utes, Utah. They had another easy victory this week. It was San Diego State. They started out a bit slow, but once they got rolling, they were hard to stop. That Utah team, keep in mind, they are a non-slip from, I think it was Dalton Kincaid, non-slip away from winning that Florida game. So, yeah, this Utah team could easily be undefeated. I think they're a lot better than what we think, at least after that Florida game. So, yeah, it'll be fun watching them going forward. Who do they have this week? They got Arizona State. Arizona State that just parted ways with Herm Edwards. So it should be an easy victory. Arizona State has not looked that good this year. Tennessee here at 13. They've just had cupcake matchups to start the season. Get their first real test here. Okay, that's not fair. They had an impressive win against Pittsburgh in OT. But they get, I think they're legitimately a real test here. Not to say, again, Pittsburgh's not legitimate, but this is a conference one. This one kind of holds a bit more water against a Florida team who, looked impressive, and thus far, that's kind of like, it's been very so-so showings. So Tennessee has a chance to really prove themselves. We got Oklahoma State coming here at 12. I don't see who they have. They might have the week off, but essentially they've had cupcake games. Even the Arizona State game kind of felt like a cupcake game for them. Let's see if we could find Oklahoma State real quick. Yeah, no, they got the week off, so Oklahoma State use it to renourish and refresh. Then Kentucky up here at 11, though it wasn't an impressive win against Louisiana Tech. It was not by any means, but they got the job done. They were the better team, and now they go on. Was it Louisiana Tech that they faced this past week? I'm having doubts all of a sudden, but I really feel like it was Youngstown State, even worse. Who had Louisiana Tech? I can't recall who had Louisiana Tech as of right now, but yeah, no, Youngstown State, that's even worse. That's a much worse squad, and again, man, Will Levis needs to put it together. He's still very turnover friendly. Like the guy throws, like he had, I think, a fumble, 2 interceptions. So like he needs to get it together. They got Northern Illinois here, who I believe they just got destroyed by some squad. I'm pretty sure by like, it was like 28 to 50 something. Oh no, they just lost recently against Vandy. Excuse me, I had the wrong team. So they just lost to SEC team, and now they get another one right here. So Godspeed to you, Northern Illinois. I think Kentucky, they should come on top before they get to the more serious part of their schedule. On to the top 10, and for the most part, the top 10 remains unchanged for me. Arkansas, I think they got caught looking ahead to Texas A&M, and Missouri State kind of caught them off guard, and luckily they were able to put it together in that second half and come out with the victory. We're going to talk about the same thing with Wake Forest, but Arkansas now has a legitimate test here against Texas A&M, ranked 22. We'll see how they do. Wake Forest almost lost to Liberty. Liberty went for the W instead of tying the ball game, and they missed the 2-point conversion. Another team, Wake Forest might be looking ahead, as they have Clemson this week. So we could be talking about potentially who's going to win the ACC in this ball game. So as you can see, Clemson's a team ranked ahead. So it'll be interesting to see who drops, who falls. Matter of fact, I think it was Clemson who had Louisiana Tech. But again, that Clemson team, they were down Brian Brise because his sister just passed away from cancer, by the way. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Brise family. They'll get him back, I assume, for this game, but even if they don't, that's a team with so much talent on defense, from Miles Murphy to stinking Tyler Davis, Trenton Simpson. They got Jeremiah Trotter's son, so it's like that defense has got a lot of talent, even if the offense takes a little bit to get going. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in this Wake Forest game in a matchup between top 25, top 10 teams in my rankings, at least. That might be the game we actually end up watching this week on stream. So be there for that. It's either going to be that or probably, I'll probably take Wake Forest, Clemson over Tennessee and Florida. Then Ole Miss, man, they keep rolling through. They ran right through Georgia Tech. People, I don't get why people say that this is not a top 10 team. I think they are. I really do. They, I believe, have Tulsa this week. So, hey, go for it, man. I think they're going to start 4-0. And then USC, man, they ran right through Fresno State. And they get this is a team that had like they faced a good Stanford squad. Like it wasn't the same Stanford squad from last year. This is a more veteran, more experienced team, and they ran right through them for all intents and purposes. Stanford tried to make it a game late. They get a very feisty Oregon State team that's 3-0. Don't sleep on Oregon State, but I really think this USC team, they have just so much talent, so much. And then the top 5, Michigan continues their pounding of cupcakes as they go by the eatery, indulge in some desserts, and yeah, they're an easy. Well, right now 3-0, I believe, 3-0, and they get Maryland this week. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, Maryland should be in that at least just missed it." But big reason I've kind of held off on Maryland is since I know they had a pretty good win against SMU, which is a very good squad. That game was very close, but this is the real test here in Michigan. Oklahoma, they get a Kansas State team this week that just lost to Tulane. Oklahoma's looked impressive. I don't get why people hate when I have them in my top 4. I think they're going to win the conference. And yeah, they're probably going to sneak into that 4 seed as long as they don't at least lose 2 games this year. And I mean, to be fair, really, like, it's not like I don't think they have too many challengers like Oklahoma State. We really don't know how good they are. Keep in mind they lost a lot on defense last season. Texas, will Ewers be healthy? Will they be able to contend with that Oklahoma team without a healthy Quinn Ewers? You got who else is in the Big 12 to fear? Baylor. I don't know if I take Baylor seriously. I mean, shoot, Kansas is kind of scary right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. But, yeah, Oklahoma, I think they look to continue to roll. By the way, didn't mention Oregon has Washington State. So, Washington State, big opportunity to show that they belong in the rankings, though it's Cameron Ward, for all intents and purposes, has looked like a first-time starter in the Power 5. There's been good, there's been bad. So, I think they're running into a buzzsaw there in Oregon. Alabama, they run right through Louisiana Monroe. Some people might want to bring up the turnovers for Bryce Young. I don't think it's a big deal. He's a guy that literally has the whole Alabama team strapped to his back, and he's carrying, and we'll talk about that when we talk about our Heisman contenders. Ohio State, they put up 77 on Toledo. They should have. That probably would have been an easy one. If anything, I would expect them to take the foot off the gas. I don't think they have anyone this week. I think they have the week. No, they got Wisconsin. So big. Actually, that's a pretty big game because Wisconsin, they'll be contending in the other division there with teams like Minnesota, Purdue, and such. So this is kind of a foreshadowing to potentially what the Big Ten championship may look like. Georgia just dogged another squad, and this time it was South Carolina. Spencer Rattler looked terrible. They were without Cam Smith, their best corner, but I don't think it really mattered much. I think the game was 48-7. Like legit, the most amount of points that teams have put up on Georgia this year is 7, compared to I think the lowest they scored was 33. So good luck to any squad having to face them. I think they get cupcake this week, right? Kent State, I think. Yeah, they get Kent State. They're a 44.5 point favorite. Makes all the sense in the world. But now I got a new segment for y'all. I'm going to add my top 5 Heisman contenders. We're going to do this weekly, so it'll probably change as we go through the weeks. And this is courtesy of Jeremy Rose. There we go. As he suggested it while we were watching my Miami Hurricanes absolutely just throw against Texas A&M. So first on the Heisman list here, I have KJ Jefferson. He is the offense for Arkansas. He's looked impressive. I mean, just putting up 19 of 31 for 385 yards. He had 3 total touchdowns. He could do it on the ground. He could do it through the air. I don't think enough people are talking about him. And then again, he gets the big matchup this week against that Texas A&M defense. And then I have at 4, Bijan Robinson. Had over 200 yards from scrimmage this past week and 3 rushing touchdowns. The dude is the best running back in college football, bar none. Honestly, I wanted to put someone that wasn't a quarterback up on this list, and I felt like the only other contender has been Jordan Addison, who's just been the best receiver in college football right now. But I decided to go with Bijan. And then we got CJ Stroud, been looking pretty darn good, threw up 5 touchdowns against Toledo as he should have. He'll probably continue that going forward. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's playing with a lot of talent around him, a lot of talent on the defense as well. So it's not going to be necessarily as hard for him as it is for my number 2, Bryce Young, who had 4 total touchdowns. People will bring up the 2 picks. I'm not worried. This guy has Alabama strapped to his back. He's having to carry the whole team, which you can't really say that about past Alabama quarterbacks. Bryce Young's the real deal. If you think this cat isn't one of the best, if not the best quarterback in college football, I think you're wrong. No one reads, processes the field like Bryce Young. No one attacks the middle of the field like Bryce Young. No one is a weapon like Bryce Young. I would not want the ball in anyone else's hands when it came to crunch time outside of Bryce Young. And then Caleb Williams, number 1 for me. He has just started out the year so strong. He's on a very talented USC offense, and they've just been rolling through teams, putting up points. He's loving Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison's loving him. For me, he is right now I think without a shadow of a doubt, the number 1 in terms of the Heisman race right now. He's been putting on a show. Big fan of Caleb Williams. But let me know maybe who your top 5 are or who should have been in the top 25 in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.